Hey, great day, everyone. Welcome to the Digital Products Masterclass. My name is Dr. TK, and today we are talking about three mistakes that service providers, which means that if you're a therapist, social worker, or healer, things that you overlook and or areas that could be improved in terms of your digital product not selling. And so to give you a little bit of overview as to why I chose this particular topic for a masterclass is that we just returned back from New York, and one of the themes that came up with the clinicians in New York, because a lot of them were launching or desire to launch a digital product of some sort, is the term capacity, time management, doing too much. Let me know in the chat box if that sounds familiar. But all in all, they actually were also seeking time freedom. They were seeking schedule freedom. They were seeking financial freedom to be able to operate a business beyond the one on one therapy space on their own terms. And so I wanted to create a space to pretty much talk about three missing key areas that are either not looked at all and or they are severely overlooked. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. I am going to share my screen. Make sure that you plan on staying to the end because I have some great things to share in terms of how you can apply all of this stuff. But of course, because I'm going live, I love to see y'all comments in the chat box. And so if you experience, of course, any aha moments, if you agree with something that I'm talking about, then go ahead and add that in the comment box as well. But let's go ahead and get started. So what are we talking about today? So if we break down, even before we get to like the three things and the three mistakes when selling digital products, when we break that down, we're really looking at the fact that you want to make more money, right? I believe that that's why all of you are here. You want to generate more money and you want to help more people. But something just isn't clicking, whether that be you just don't even know how to start, you don't know what product to choose, you're not even sure if you want a digital product business, you're not sure if you even have the idea to even meet the needs of a digital product business, which we will cover. So my goal is to slow down this conversation and talk about fixing all of the indecisiveness and potentially even levels of overwhelm. So why digital products? We are in an era right now where pretty much almost everything is available online, right? This is before growing up in the 80s and 90s where we had to look up stuff in the encyclopedia. And so what I usually tell my clients, especially those who want to write books, is wouldn't it be so cool if you became the Barnes and Nobles of your expertise in your industry? Why can't you come up in the Google search beyond what you went to school for? So when you really think about how you've already been positioned to be able to sell your digital product and or resell it, because I see that we have some clients in here who have taken our digital product programs before, is refreshers are always needed, especially because the marketing game changes every millisecond at this point. So you've already been helping people, correct? Whether it's been a job, whether it's been practicum, internship at your church, in your community, in your family, in your clinical practice, or other streams of income, you're helping someone, right? Digital products will allow you to help more people without the issues around like borders with where you are licensed, right? Now, of course, we're going to address ethics with how you can and should be able to create a digital product and align it with your ethical code. But what's nice about digital products is that you don't have to be in the room. I mean, you don't even have to be like this. This could be a digital product if people paid to come, for example, but I made it at no additional cost because we're doing an exchange in time. But this masterclass could be a digital product where we can put it on replay. So a mindset reframe, and this is something big that we've been talking to our clients a lot about, is imposter syndrome. So imposter syndrome in the mental health world to me is being thrown around like ADHD. Everybody is neurodivergent. Everybody is ADHD. Everybody got imposter syndrome. Like it's almost like instead of us slowing down to really think about what is the real problem, we tend to label things so quickly. And the problem is if you misdiagnose yourself, what happens with misdiagnosing? When you don't give the client the appropriate diagnoses, the wrong treatment plan will follow. When the wrong treatment plan follows, the person won't get better. They may feel like they're getting better, but it's temporary because it's not going to solve the whole problem. So is it really imposter syndrome, which means that you have a skill set, but you do not know if you're ready to implement or put that skill set out in the marketplace? Or do you actually have a lack of a skill. So, for example, let's just say if you wanted to do virtual master classes, even if it was on record, but behind closed doors, you don't want to make a video, even a 7-second video for social media. You don't like to hear your own voice. You don't even want to press record when nobody else is watching, even on your camera. You may see it as a waste of time. So let me ask you, if you want people to pay attention to you on your or someone else's stage, virtually or in person, how is that supposed to happen if you won't even practice getting on a stage when nobody is watching? This means that you have a lack of skills as it relates to putting yourself on your own stage. That's not imposter syndrome, because imposter syndrome is you done did 5 stages, you've had 5 master classes, but then maybe one company calls you to do something and you're like, I don't know, it's Boeing. I'm just throwing out a company, right? But it's a big company and you're like, well, I don't know if my message is going to be received. That's imposter syndrome, because you have data to support that you have a skill set, but you're telling yourself you're not good enough. Versus you've never done a speaking engagement, you are not working on your speaking. That is a lack of a skill. Put a 1 in the comment box if that makes sense to you, because I want y'all to start changing your language, even when you have internal conversations with yourself, because all of this relates to what will happen when you try to launch a digital product or any service or product for that matter. So let's continue to talk about why digital products right now is the name of the game. This is one stream of income you can engage in, clearly, that's beyond one-on-one. So when you look at digital products, we all know that your time is limited. The name of the game when we went to New York was I'm at capacity, right? So your time is already limited with whatever is already on your calendar. Now, could that calendar probably be washed out and be better? Of course, more productive. But your skills are not limited. Your skills are not in a box. So you only have so many hours in a day to see clients, and all of us have different schedules, especially right now during this time of year. You may have kids at home during certain times of the year. You may be an empty nester. You may not have any kids. I don't know what the case may be, but all of our schedules look different. But you still give yourself ideally a box to operate in doing one-on-one. And so digital products allows you to position your business to share your knowledge, share your expertise, and you don't have to show up live if you don't want to. So that means that you can generate more income without more burnout. Now, let me be clear. Building out a digital product will take work. It will not be grown overnight. We're going to get to that in a moment. But I wanted to make that clear from the front, because we are not a get rich quick scheme. We are not, you're going to launch a digital product in 7 days. You could, it depends on what history you have, but that's not the case for somebody who has no idea solidified and no plan, right? It's going to take work. So in the beginning, will you have to front load what you have to learn and then implement to grow your digital product business? Of course, but it doesn't mean it cannot be done. Okay. So the economy is shifting. We know this. It's been shifting. It is shifting off a cliff right now, right? So when we talk about or think about jobs, being a contractor or you having a contract with someone, even insurance rates are changing, or the ability for people to be seen is changing. People's ability to maybe pay private pay every week might be changing. So your desire also might be changing, where you want to find multiple ways to earn, because you don't want to put all of your eggs in one basket. Because what happens when one of those rugs gets pulled from up under you? Well, now we got a bigger problem. So we just don't want to rely on one stream of income. So digital products is a stream of income that does give you those options. And I believe that those options, once they're built and they're put into the marketplace and you tweak them and you're making them better, it can protect your peace, because you can be doing whatever you want behind closed doors. You can market it and low-key be faceless. You can do things like voiceovers, your authentic voice on social media, on videos, on a podcast, market your product, and you can sell it and wake up to sales in your sleep. Okay. So at the end of the day, people around the world, not just our country, not just your state, not just your city, people around the world still need help with something. And we all know that not everybody, as we mentioned earlier, cannot afford, for example, access to therapy. Now, we want to be clear. We're not making our digital product replace therapy, and we're going to get to the ethical jargon. But people still desire tools. If people didn't desire tools, people would not be watching personal development YouTube videos for an hour and a half each. If people still didn't need tools, there would not be a psychology department, a personal development department, in Barnes and Nobles, correct? There would not be all of these self-development physical books that people can download on Audible and buy on Amazon. So don't say my expertise is not needed in the marketplace. Just go on Amazon and type in your expertise and see how many books come up. So people still desire tools. You can put it in the format of a journal, of a guide, of a workshop. It truly depends on how you want to serve your audience. So your product, it can reach people who may even never make it to your office or anyone else's. And some people don't meet medical necessity to be seen, especially through insurance. But that doesn't mean that they don't have areas of their life that they should be working on that you can help with. So also, you already have the content. See, this is where we're going to go into. You are sitting on a pot of gold. And right now, I don't know if you noticed, I'm hyping you up. Put one in the comment box if you feel hyped up, like, okay, when's she gonna get to the mistakes? Because right now I'm feeling real good, right? So you already have the content. You have it. We may need to organize it, but you have it. Think about it. You are repeating yourself every single session, every day of the week that you work in your business, at your job, or in someone else's practice. How many years did you collect all these hours? And you probably knew by hand. I know I did. I knew the intake by heart. And that was a 14-page intake in a juvenile justice facility. 14 pages, but that's what happens when you become familiar with something. Give yourself credit. You are never starting from scratch unless you go out and you're a realtor. But even then, you ain't start from scratch. You know how to build relationships with people. You know how to assess people. You know how to initiate a conversation with people. You're never starting from scratch. So when you think about how many times you've repeated yourself, how many times you've created therapeutic tools on your laptop and just emailed it in the client portal to the client, those things are, to a degree, of course, with ethics and protecting the client because they're not with you when they do these activities, is a digital product waiting to happen. So why wouldn't you think about, maybe I should package what I'm already doing that's ethically appropriate to help more people that this could benefit. Now, let me tell you, the way that you can test this out is take your tool, put it in the chat GPT and say, hey, I want to create some teaser content to this worksheet. It ain't got to be a workbook. It could be a worksheet. And I don't want to give all the prompts away, but I want to see if people like this type of content. So what you can do is you can test out your ideas by getting people to engage with you. And then you take the one who got the most engagement. It doesn't mean those people will buy, but at least you know what people are engaging in versus you believing the digital product that you chose is the best fit for your client avatar, your ideal client, right? So I believe all mental health providers deserve overflow. You are overflowing your clients, right? You do not just need to be in a state of survival, actually, at all. Okay. You did all the work, as we talked about, with all of these hours. You've earned the license, or you're in the process of earning a license. And now it's time to build something that gives back to you, because we're always on the bottom of the totem pole. That's what I was taught in grad school. One of my first professors in my doctoral program said on the first day of abnormal psychology, she said, if you came into this field to get rich, you were in the wrong field. And, I'm a savvy little something. So, after, getting to know her, becoming a good student of hers, because I took a few of her classes and doing her summer camp, I'm like, listen, you didn't invite us to your house. You live in Marin County, if you're familiar with San Francisco. That's like the Rodeo Drive of Los Angeles, right? Like you live in Marin County with hella land. You got this igloo house with glass windows everywhere and doors. And you got summer camps where you're able to gift kids from the hood, the projects in San Francisco, a way to do your summer camp for free for 6 weeks, while you also serve people who can pay $500 a week for each kid. Hello. And so I'm like, you got to be doing something that you're not telling us. And she was like, oh, I'm glad you asked, Takesha, because usually no one asks. Learn how to ask the question. And as some of y'all know, be okay with asking the question to someone or a few people that are 8 to 10 steps ahead of you all the time, right? I've learned that early on before I even knew what 8 to 10 steps was. I just saw what they had and I was like, this looks like a vision on my vision board. So I'm going to get to know that person. So is it really possible to earn a extra $50 a month, $500, $1,000? Everybody got different goals, right? Some people want to transition all the way to digital products. I said to myself, I want 75% of my business to be digital products. The other 25% is going to be mental health, but mental health in my own way with my private practice, which means right now I do one-to-many workshops, right? But those can also be turned into digital products. So what you're seeing from the snapshot is like different times of the year in the last 2 years from different platforms, whether it's been Stanstore, Samcart, Stripe, Kajabi. I have different platforms for different reasons. But this goes to show you within a year what is possible with a $20 digital product up to a $15,000 digital product. I didn't start at $15,000 for coaching. It definitely started at like $29. Okay. But these numbers are possible. I realized once I start believing that they were possible. Before then, it just felt like I was never going to hit the goal. So when you think about digital products, it is a lot bigger than passive income. It's not just about, I just need some extra cash. I can guarantee you, if you come into with energetics of, I just need to launch so I can get some extra cash, you're going to rush, you're going to sprint without training, you're going to run out of breath, and you're going to burn down. And then unfortunately, you might even stop liking digital products simply because you weren't prepared for the race. It doesn't mean that you didn't have a good idea. So digital products is about allowing you freedom. It's about allowing you to show your creative arts. Like a lot of you all have some great, everybody has great gifts outside of being a provider. Some of your gifts actually show up in the room, like you do therapy your own way. I know when I was working in the jail, this is when like the iPod docking station was popping. And, I would decorate my office for the kids because my office was a jail cell. Help me. But I'm like, I want to give them a reward because I'm a real big component of the behavioral system, especially for kids that were not dealt a fair hand. And then you only know what you see in your hood. So you kind of succumb to the situation. So anyways, they need to take responsibility for their actions. But I knew that despite their crime that they were being charged with in juvenile hall, for example, some of them knew how to rap. Some of them wanted to talk, but they didn't know how. So could this not be a digital product now? If I were like a beats master or something like that, I mean, I could be probably with all this AI. So I brought in my docking station for my Apple. I sat at home on my own time, didn't get paid for it. And I downloaded old school instrumentals, Ice Cube, Eazy-E, because those beats were fire and they still are. So, and the kids loved them because they were like, oh, that's old school. I'm like, okay, now you're calling me old. So we dropped them and the kids were bringing like their composition books and free flowing in my office. Now, here's the thing. It was my gift to share with them saying, hey, I can help you creatively learn how to open up to me in your own way. I would do this also with basketball, with every time you miss a shot, you got to tell me something about you that, what I'm saying, you don't know. And I'm not saying that that's a digital product, but I can actually take everything I just gave you now that I think about it, and I can document it like a book, like a journey, and say, try this if you work with at-risk boys, if you work with gang members. Put a one in the comment box of like what I just did with even my aha moment on the fly. You can flip anything into a digital product. And so bottom line is these kids were working hard in class, not to get a redirect, not to get in trouble, not to be pulled out from probation, because they knew by the end of that week, I'm going to have another session. And what's dope is my whole unit was popping where all the kids' doors was locked, but my door was a little cracked. So, the sound went through the hallway and it's those concrete ground floors or whatever. And it felt like a jail movie where all the kids was like nodding their head like in the thing. But what did it do for new kids coming in? What did it do for kids not paying attention and not like doing what I asked them to do? They were like, well, actually, can I get another chance and I can act better? You know what I'm saying? Next week. Oh, listen, Johnny, I always call him Johnny. You can always get another chance. Every day you wake up, business owners, you get another chance to start over. You don't wipe out your whole week because you had a bad day. You can start over whenever you want. It does not have to be January 1st. So it's not just about, let me just get some extra cash. Get the freedom, chase the freedom, chase your creativity, have fun, build a business that works for your life. Don't build a business that cages you in where you can't live your life. Okay. So think about it in a way of grad school. I always like to compare stuff to things we know. So in grad school, we can't just skip to internship and say, yeah, professor, skip me because I believe I know the theory. I don't read all the books. Even if you have, they want you to show them that you can implement it with them having you do a case conceptualization and things like that. So business is the same way. Digital products comes after the foundation is built. Now you can go out there and sell a digital product and you might get some sales because you might have a tribe already. But at some point, the tribe gonna dry up. And what's gonna happen is, and you've probably seen this with your private practice, between 2020 and 2022. For those of you who were in practice, y'all know who I'm talking to. And in 2020 to 2021, money was dropping like flies on our doorstep, like, oh, look at all this money. And then you had to realize that you didn't know how to market because people were just being dropped on your doorstep. And then you want help. All I'm asking you to do is not wait until you need help and seek out help so that it can feel better to you, not rushed, so that you don't start feeling resentful if you don't get the results in the timeline that you desire. So what happens when you launch a digital product right? I do believe that there is multiple ways to launch a digital product, but most of them follow 4 simple steps that we'll get to in a moment. So I believe that these are factual. When you sell with clarity and not confusion, you can sell your digital product. And we'll get to what clarity means when we talk about niche. Your product stands on its own when you're clear, because now you're focused on not violating your ethics, not making your digital product sound like therapy, and you are able to speak to your audience in a very clear way. When all of this comes together, your income will automatically start to multiply without you necessarily, unless you want to, adding more sessions to your client calendar. Okay. So before you launch, get clear on who you serve. So I intentionally chose these pictures for a reason, right? So I have a travel solo picture up to the left because a lot of providers like to travel, desire to travel, and or they want to go to a live event with other therapists in the room to connect. And that's exactly where I was, but I tapped into my creativity. I accidentally, but I guess it wasn't no accident, booked my flight an extra day early. But I was, I said, you know what, let's make the best out of this. I've never been to inside the state capitol. I've been around it, but I ain't never stood in line for it. So I said, you know what, I'm going to be flexible today because that's not me. I'm like very by the book, like a calendar. So I'm like, let me just go over there and see what I could do. But I'm for sure going to pack my tripod, my camera, and my remote. And guess what happened? I used those pictures. Some of y'all have seen them in Facebook ads, Instagram ads, all throughout my social media platform. And I can take those pictures without it looking like nobody is there. Okay. To the right, a lot of people envision being able to take time off their business. On the bottom to the left, I have moms, I have aunties, I have people who are caregivers. They want to spend time with family. I have people who want to work from anywhere and everywhere. I have people who want to travel with their spouse, with their partner, or just be in some water. There are different hats that I wear, but I've been around my clientele long enough that I can talk to one avatar, but hit on different hats, because different therapists or social workers have different needs. I would be naive if I thought that all of them were parents, right? Like that's not the case. So that's not going to be my primary marketing, which is why if you don't understand my message and you go to my page on Instagram, it may look like I'm addressing different things, but I'm very clear if you listen to me speak. Okay. So if you are not familiar with the niche formula, this is a short Cliff Notes version of it. Your product, when we talk about clarity, it needs a formula. So if you're familiar with this formula based off other work that we've done together, then I want you to do a checks and balances of what you've been doing and what you may have moved away from. Because sometimes we know this is the formula, but we're doing whatever we feel like it. Okay. So when you think about the formula, it's A plus B equals C. So the A is, who is your ideal client? Who are you intending on helping with your digital product? The B is, what problem do you solve? If you have a laundry list that makes up a diagnosis, we doing it all wrong. If you solve a problem on productivity, that is too big. Productivity with what? Productivity with trimming down time, with work time. You work with entrepreneurs. Be specific. I work with parents. Parents doing what? Are you working with parents to carve out time to be more intimate with each other? They need to carve out an hour with each other. So now you look at their schedule, because your goal is to get them to the 1 hour a night or 30 minutes a night once the kids are asleep. You want to be very, very specific. You want to niche down first and then evolve later. C is the transformation. So we'll get to the equal sign, but the C is the transformation. So let's just go with the intimacy part. If you want to serve parents or caregivers, and let's just say we're a couple, and the goal is that we say, man, 0 through 5 is rough, but 7 is still a little rough. I have a 7-year-old, and sometimes like my son stays up late, it's summertime, and I really want to spend time with my husband. I can put boundaries in clearly more with my son, but sometimes I'll be tired. You know what I'm saying? So I need to figure out my schedule, because now my husband want to hang out and I'm like, man, I'm sleepy. You feel me? So I may be your ideal client. So now you want to paint a picture of what your workbook or what your video or your private podcast will give me once I'm done. You have to paint the picture. Okay. If you don't paint the picture, why am I paying you? I'm not going to pay you for more information. I can watch YouTube all day long. Because say that's what some people are missing. You know the who, you need to clarify the what, but your transformation is missing. Like we just don't know. Now the equal sign, think about the equal sign as a bridge. Like the person that you're serving is in a car. They have to drive over the bridge. So the question now is, what is the vehicle that you're going to put your targeted audience is in to get to the transformation? So how I envision this is a map, right? So I get in my car, and I'm driving, and you identify me as your client. So I go to the next stop. Then I get there and you like, I can help you with this problem. I'm like, cool, press go to the next stop. Now I'm facing a bridge and I'm like, dang, 1 hour a night looks fire, but I don't really know how to do that. So that's why I'm here. And then you're going to paint a picture and say, hey, because of how I can solve your problem, X, Y, and Z, this is what your life can look like if you implement my step-by-step process in my workbook, private podcast, whatever. Does everybody get that? Put a 1 in the comment box if you get the formula, because I know I've described the formula before, but the bottom part, I'm using a different terminology from what has worked with our mastermind clients, especially as we explore some stuff in this most recent event, as I start using the analogy of driving with the vehicle. And they were like, once they were able to visualize it, it clicked. It was always there, but it clicked, right? So sometimes we need a visual, okay? So why you must pick a niche if you didn't clearly get what we just talked about. So you can't serve everybody. Pick the people you know well. So this is why I say you're not starting from scratch. Pick the people you already know how to serve well and look at the problems you are already solving. You already have testimonials, but maybe they're in mental health services, not in a digital product, right? But at least you won't have imposter syndrome. So when you think about your niche, and you focus and drill down on that niche, you will get faster sales because you're not lollygagging talking to everybody. And what happens is once you get those sales, then comes the confidence. So that's something we talked in our community about this morning is some people drive with, I'm trying to search and find my confidence, and then I'll create the product, and then I'll generate the sales. Well, what happens if you just took the plunge, got in the damn car, filled up the gas because I'm your gas tank, you followed my road, you got in the car, you went over the bridge, you followed the instructions, and then your client not even got the transformation yet, but you made the sale. And you like, damn, I made $11. I mean, I don't care how much it is, right? It could be $11, $30, $100, thousands of dollars. Any sale feels good. Y'all don't understand. I can sometimes forget that I posted something last week with like a code word for AI to like do the whole little bot mini chat thing. And then I'll wake up and I'm out of town, for example, prime example. And, I turn my notifications off except for Stand Store, right? Because I like to see the like cha-ching kind of thing. That's just so cool. So I woke up halfway just trying to see what time it was. And I saw the little purple S. I said, money. It was like $29. It doesn't matter. I'm changing someone's life. And when they buy, that makes my product viable. And then when another person buys, what I'm saying is the more and more you do, the more and more you show up, you will become confident. Okay. So stop putting confidence first and making that be your stall out for getting to work. Right. Now, a bigger area that, and we ain't even got to the 3 mistakes yet, y'all. A bigger area that I find a lot of therapists getting into a state of overwhelm is they don't know which idea. So put a 1 in the comment box. Be honest. If you like, well, I'm already in your program or I'm not, but I got one idea, but you know what? I think I got another idea. Or matter of fact, I already launched 2 things, but I don't know which one I should launch by August. Or you know what? Maybe I should wait until December and launch them both. Like, does this sound like anybody? Or is that just sometimes my brain? I know it's just not me, right? So slow it down and ask yourself, what is the lowest hanging fruit? So the way that you will do this, ask yourself the following. What do people already ask me for help with? Probably on a continuous basis and you don't even realize it. What do you talk about the most? When you do talk about it, what brings you joy the most where we may have to shut you up? Like that's a good way of putting it, right? What do you already teach or say on repeat? So I know certain areas, hands down, it may not attract that many more clients versus me talking about streams of income, but I know for sure talking about time management, because that's really what entrepreneurs need before they go out and launch any type of product because they ain't gonna get it done, is productivity related to time auditing your time to figure out where your time goes, because I'm a quality assurance person. And once we can assess where your time goes, I can help you trim, cut, replace, ask you questions, delegate, and all those things. But let's be real. If I showed up in the marketplace right now and I said, come to my masterclass and let's talk about 3 time productivity hacks, half of y'all might be here. The other half of y'all, I would have lost you in the first 5 minutes because you don't see that as a connection to your money. But if I say, come learn all this information about streams of income, you would be here. But what's crazy is learning and implementing are 2 different things, and people see it as the same. So turn what you already say and do on a daily basis or weekly basis into a digital product, right? And thank you for not leaving me alone, right? Like digital product, like scatterbrain, okay? So start with what you know. So if you teach about boundaries and mental health services, turn it into a journal, a workshop, or a guide, or a private podcast. If you give homework already, we mentioned this in the beginning, package it into a workbook or a course. Some of you really want to write a physical book. Now, before you launch, you have to get clear on the vehicle. So we just talked about targeted audience, some business mindset reframing, but let's be real. We got to choose the right vehicle. The vehicle is the type of digital product you're going to create. So I'm going to introduce you to like the main 2 to 3. And then there's 2 more that I'm going to introduce. But these are some heavy hitters that people just act like they're not a big deal. And they take a lot more to like get them off the ground. Okay. So the lowest hanging fruit in terms of digital products is usually ebooks, workbooks, journals. Okay. So these can give people great quick wins. It does not have to be a dissertation, 50-page, 100-page book. An ebook, y'all, could be 2 pages and change somebody's life. It could be 1 page. Okay. So you want to give somebody a quick win and teach one clear concept. So for example, I actually have a ebook called 60 Digital Product Ideas for Therapists and for Healers. The purpose of that ebook was not to overwhelm you with 60 ideas. It was to help therapists see that there are different variations of even one idea. It was to help them see that there are 3 to 4 categories of even a simple digital product, not a course. But a lot of people don't know that. They just think, oh, I got to have an ebook. You don't. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. But those who do, you can include things like a worksheet, a checklist, or some prompts. Now, systems needed. Things that you would want to consider, and this is what we would teach too as well in our Digital Product Academy, is delivery page. Like you need clearly the system to process the sale. You need to collect people's information and let it be safe. You don't need to be doing no Cash App, right? You have to do their email to make sure that they actually got the download. You need a payment link, ideally that it's automated. This is why we teach to SandStore or any other platform that you would like to use. But if you are not currently using the system, we suggest starting there because it's low cost, a barrier to get in, and it does a whole lot of stuff that you probably will need. Okay. Now, the number 1 tip with ebooks and journals is think about it as 1 problem equals 1 solution. 1 problem equals 1 solution. Do not try to solve multiple problems. So somebody may say, well, why did you include the launch phases and teach a little bit about launching in the digital product? You can get the bundle for that, but that's still going to get you so far because you then have to do it on your own. But I just wanted to help them explore what's possible. Okay. So the next virtual digital product stream of income is virtual workshops and or masterclasses. So do me a favor, head in the chat box and let me know, even if I haven't gotten to it yet, what digital product are you launching? Have you launched or would you like to launch next? Okay. So be specific. If it's a course, say course. If it's a masterclass or workshop, say that. But we're talking about virtual because it's digital. Okay. Now you can get paid to a group of people, but it's on Zoom or something. So these are perfect if you love teaching live or on platforms like Zoom, on StreamYard, things like this. You can also repurpose content you already use with clients or teams. So there may be things that you're really good at that you've helped a job create. It wasn't their intellectual property. It was yours. You kind of just gave it away. And why couldn't you recreate it for your own business? Okay. Systems needed. A landing page is somewhere someone goes to learn the information, like a sales page, and then they exchange information like credit card, etc. You need some type of live stream or recording tool. You may have to pay for video editing if you don't know how to edit your video and you just want to record it and get it out the way. And you also need access for them to access it through like a replay link. Now, number 1 tip for virtual workshops and masterclasses is choose a timely topic people actually want help with now. So unless you're a social media guru, stay away from things that are going to expire, because if they do, you're constantly going to have to be recreating the video over. So I see here, in the chat box, we have workshops, we have journals and workshops, we have ebook or journal, and then I've gotten more specific and now I'm focused on workshop. Cool. Okay. So it's a process sometimes. All right. So now let's move into the other one that is not used as much, but I'm going to tell you, social workers, therapists, healers, some of y'all got some beautiful voices or you got a powerful voice that maybe just needs to be in someone's ear, and you can do a private podcast. The beauty part about a private podcast is that it has show notes. So I'm going to tell you how to double dip. I can record this right now. I can go and upload it to a private podcast. I can choose to let it run for the whole entirety of the workshop, or I can have my team chop it up into segments like mindset, streams of income, and then the 3 mistakes, right? And then we can go and upload it to the private podcast feed, like download the video because it converts it over to an MP3. We can upload the video, but then we can also say, hey, this video is on YouTube Unlisted, for example. If you prefer to see me teach these topics, click here. So somebody can say, hey, I get to choose my learning style. I can listen to it. We may give them some show notes of a summary, but not all the information. They need to like listen and watch the video or listen to the masterclass. But do y'all get what I'm saying? Like private podcast also is easy because you don't have to log into a course shell. You just pop it up right on your phone. So it's audio only delivery, but I just told you a hack. It's perfect for on-the-go learners. So you have to think about your avatar. If you work with busy moms, probably a good idea. Great for a step-by-step series or even a daily challenge. The system's needed. We use Hello Audio, so private podcast tool, and they also have a payment gateway, but you can also do your own payment gateway. You just have to use email marketing to be able to link the buyer to be able to access the podcast. Okay. So number 1 tip, plan a short series, for example, that builds momentum. Maybe you just do your first podcast series. Maybe it's a list builder. Maybe you just want to see if people are interested in the topic. So you create a audio series just so that people can start talking back to you. Not every first digital product also needs to be the one that pays you clearly the big bucks, because you're going to be doing what's called beta testing. Now we get into the 2 that are the beast of all digital products that you should not just be jumping in and thinking that it's an ebook. So when you think about a course, it can be a mini course, like this masterclass would be broken down into a mini course, or it can be an actual program where somebody's following a step-by-step process. So these guarantee bigger transformations because they require deeper planning. These definitely need a clear roadmap, but let's be clear, the other digital products do as well. In our program, we actually break down what's called framework to every type of digital product that I'm sharing with you today. So like we'll say, hey, this is how to create your framework, your special sauce, how you're going to put somebody in your vehicle to go to the transformation. So you develop your own framework. Then we say, now that you know what a framework is, I want you to go to the video that applies to you. And if you have an ebook, this is what a framework will look like. If you have a masterclass, this is what a framework will look like. If you have a course, this is what a framework will look like. So systems needed. You need a clear roadmap. So the person who buys the course needs to know how is it going to help them go across that bridge. You want to be clear about the outcomes. Don't overpromise what you cannot deliver. And also, does your course provide student support, or is it a self-paced program? Be very clear about that and your capacity. So systems needed. Of course, we need a course platform. You do not want to just have your stuff being delivered via email. Or in like a Google Drive. Okay. You want a sales process, like they buy it, they go to a thank you page, they get a confirmation email, and then they get access to a course shell of some sort. StanStore does have a course shell if you don't have other platforms. And then what if somebody can't access something? You need to be able to provide support. So when you start doing courses, you may not understand that you are taking on additional hours because of customer service. Okay. So disclaimer, launch plans in terms of how you launch it may take longer because you're now not just selling a sheet of paper, you're selling a whole process. So you may find yourself testing your idea just a little while longer based on how big your product is and how specific your product is to the public. Now, the number 1 tip for courses is don't overteach. So guide them through a specific process, and that is it. Like one focus, one thing, and get them through it. Okay. Coaching programs is also one of those big ones. Now, granted, you can start with a one-on-one coaching client And that's what I would recommend first before you go into group coaching, because you want to vet your idea. So think about it. You are walking people through an application process, let's just say, not just let me teach you something and then you get into my coaching program. It is typically high touch points because people need to develop a high trust for you, which also equates to high price. Now, the crazy part is most people are chasing the high price and they forgetting about the trust. Okay. So systems needed. You may need an application process. You can do that on Google Forms. You could also do it on Sandstorm and they can get on the calendar. You need an onboarding process. What do they need to do to start with you? Do they need access to something, or do you do everything live on Zoom? Well, that means you need Zoom. Do you need any platforms, right? Disclaimer. You must be very clear that you're not offering therapy. So this is a tip for you if you want a course or a coaching program and you are overlapping with your mental health experience. I want you to go to another therapist and a random person. I want you to tell that person to close their eyes. I want you to describe your product or service. And I want you to ask them, what type of service do you think that this is? What type of product? And if they say anything that sounds like therapy, like, oh man, as a therapist, that's a fire program. The fact that they even said that is a problem. Now, granted, they probably said it because you are a therapist, but you should have said something that geared them toward another direction. So if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, sound like a duck, it's a duck. And this is where your ethical violations start to happen. And right now, there's no clear line on therapy versus coaching because the general public doesn't even know the difference. But you want to be real clear to not let it sound like therapy. If it sounds like a treatment plan, it's out. So don't even use psycho jargon, right? So I'll give you some examples of what to do and what not to do. So number one tip, lead with outcomes, not time. Do not tell people, oh yeah, to join this program, you're gonna have to put in 30 hours. Don't nobody want to give you 30 hours. Right? So even for this masterclass, I didn't lead with, I'm gonna meet with you for 60 minutes. I led with, this is the outcome that you can expect to have once you're done with the masterclass. And then granted at the bottom is say an hour. Okay. So 3 mistakes. Now we're going to speed things up. Now that we got through all that, the 3 mistakes are easy. So 3 mistakes service providers make selling digital products. So put a 1 in the comment box if you're learning something already, whether you are new to digital products, you are an existing client of ours, or you may be a veteran of ours, which means you've probably been with us for a couple of years because I see some of y'all names. But put a 1 in the comment box if this is opening up your eyes for like a refresher or highlighting areas where you would want to develop a skill set. Okay, cool. All right. So number 1, your product is not therapy. Your product is not therapy. So let's dive deeper into this. Truth number 1, because your product is not therapy, it does not come with sessions. You got to remember that. So you have to be able to walk somebody through that transformation without meeting with them and expect that they're going to be able to not unravel like a mental health session because it should not sound like therapy. People do not get you. So stop positioning the digital product as though it is the same of you putting your personality into the ebook. Absolutely not. That is a bold-faced lie, right? It is your product. It is not you. Okay. So you may be thinking, but I'm still a therapist, right? And I may be like, yes, but this product is something new. It is detached from you, even though you create it. So think about it like a new major. You can't walk into a college campus. I know there's some overlap with psychology and sociology, but you can't walk into a campus and say, I think I want to be a medical doctor. I think I also want to be an engineer. Can I just take like 1 class per topic and just have both majors? The school is going to be like, absolutely not. There's different prerequisites. There's different classes. There's different graduation requirements in order for you to be able to maneuver through both. So think about that like therapy versus digital product. They're not the same. So also your message might be confusing. And that's something you want to ask yourself with the example I just gave you a moment ago. So this is what you can do. For example, do you say manage anxiety like you talking about therapy? Choose your words wisely, because when you say things like this ebook can help you manage your anxiety, that's risky. And first of all, it's unclear. How are you going to help me manage my anxiety? Versus you can say it like this. This guide helps you understand your anxiety. Put a 1 in the comment box if you just saw what I did. I'm talking about the same topic, but it drills down to the clarity in my message, because you have to talk about what you can guarantee. So I'll say like a coaching program. I never guarantee my clients to come in and within 8 weeks, they can make a 10K practice. Now, will I give you the tools to position you to generate 10K plus months? Yes, we have social proof for that, right? Can I guarantee you that I can teach you this information through the portal if you follow our syllabus in 8 weeks or less or longer. If you want to take a little longer, I can guarantee that 1000%. But I cannot guarantee that when you go out into the world that you're going to follow our step-by-step process. People be doing whatever they want to do, right? So note that you want to watch your language, and remember that like a guide is not their treatment to anxiety. So you don't want to use that language. Okay. So you also want to think about like your product not being therapy with ethically, why does this matter? So clearly your audience needs clarity. They need to know that they're signing up for a digital product, not a therapist. And you also need clearly legal protection. Okay. So number two, you skipped the plan. Like you just said, let me launch it. And that's why sales are quiet. We are here because there is no sales or there's a lack of. So the first one was your message is unclear and somebody can't tell the difference between therapy and the digital product. So they just not gonna get nothing. Number two is you skipped the plan. Okay. So you skipped the launch steps. You made a product. That's awesome. Congratulations. But did you launch it in the appropriate way to tell people it was coming? So even the best products need a plan. Your girl Beehive needs a plan to have a worldwide tour. Mr. Lamar, he needs a plan to kill it in London, you know what I'm saying, at his concert that y'all probably saw, on social media. There is a plan for every launch of a product or a service. No plan equals a lack of or no sales. Okay. So here are the 4-step launch processes in a simple way. Okay. So phase one is technically called the pre-launch. That's when you make people aware. You let people know that you exist. The second phase is the pre-launch. This is when you warm your audience up. Those who are already in front of you, you warm them up some more. Those people who are not in front of you, you're going to get them in front of you and you're going to warm them up some more. But you are building trust before you sell. Now, let me be clear. There is no magic number of, how many days should I do this? That depends on your history and your ability to show up and your level of confidence. Just get to it. Just try it. Phase number 3 is you invite them in. That's the launch. So some people start at phase 3, which is I'm going to invite them to see my offer. There is no education. There is no warm up. There is no, do you trust me? There is, here's my book. I don't understand why y'all ain't got the money to buy it. Okay. Stage number 4 is clearly you sell, you support them, you answer their questions. And then there is another stage, which is the debriefing, which is you review what you have been doing with your digital product sales, ideally in the beginning every week, so that you can tweak it as you go. Okay. So this is where some people may be stuck based off of conversations with clinicians is you made the product, but you did not warm up your audience. Your audience does not have trust. Therefore, they didn't see your stuff either. Therefore, they do not buy. You don't have an email list. You are not trying social media over and over again, trying to see if something will move. Maybe you're on the wrong social media platform. Maybe you got to go to live events. I'm not sure, but you got to try different things. Step number 3, lastly, is your brand is blurry. Your brand is blurry. So when we talked about messaging, that was marketing. Now we're talking about how you show up. So when your brand is blurry, odds are so is your confidence. And this is why you are trying to chase the C word, confidence. So people don't know what you do. So are you a therapist, a coach, or a speaker? I'm not sure. Your profile may not even make it clear. You just say all this psycho jargon about what you do to change people's lives in mental health, dysfunctional families. But I'm like, I don't know what any of that means, right? So let's talk confidence. You are already, let me hype you up again. You are already great at therapy, right? But digital products is new. And it's going to take a while for it not to be a foreign language. And going into something new, like going into a new job, going into a new group of people, it can feel a little scary and intimidating because you don't know what comes next. So what sometimes happens when we go into digital products outside of mental health is that you might be comparing apples to oranges. So I'm going to give you 2 examples. You built your therapy rep over years, right? Your product then will not grow overnight. Your digital product, it's not going to grow overnight. You didn't take overnightness to get licensed, did you? So a lengthier example, more in-depth one is your successful therapy practice or business of therapy, which you've built over years. Like you've built your brand over years. You've done training, you've gotten licensed, you've had jobs, you've worked in your own business. You have all of that social proof just even internally to show up on versus a digital product. You have to brand that digital product and you have to be creative with how you message it to help people see that you can help them with something in which you're not in it. Like you wrote it, but you're not there. The best part about a virtual masterclass and a private podcast, at least they can hear you. At least they can see you. But if you want to do an ebook, they don't get none of that. So you might be still in the earlier stages, and there's not no one time I launch it, then I'm in perfection mode. I launched one program it was a 9-month program. It was a coaching program. I did 2 rounds of a beta. For my private practice academy, we did about a year and a half of a beta. I wanted as much feedback as I could before I finalized a core shell to make sure that when somebody logs in now, it is timeless content. Okay. So digital products in your therapy practice, they're not the same. And therapy is, of course, you know how to do it. You do it well because you're more established. That's a given, but stop comparing the apples to oranges. Okay. So here's the hidden problem. Because of the apples to oranges situation, we expect fast wins because I'm licensed, I'm smart. How hard could it be? I know how to follow instructions, and you could implement fast if you do follow the instructions. But let's be real. A lot of people don't follow the instructions. They see step one, they assume that marketing is the same as private practice, so they skip it. Then we talk about branding. Oh, I know my brand, I know my colors and my website. Then they skip it. Then they say, I mean, how hard can it be? I see Dr. CK pop up and launch an ebook after she done visited Vegas. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going on Canva, get a template. I mean, these are the conversations that people are having. And I'm just like, you have no idea how many steps. Matter of fact, for those of y'all who launch a digital product, because some of y'all here, just put out a number. How many steps, like things, did you have to do to actually launch the ebook, to launch the course, to launch the coaching program? My coaching program had, like, no lie, 150 steps. Even if I didn't start with 150, I still started with 30. It was not 3 steps. Okay. So you expect fast wins. Shayla said 1,000. Okay. Suzanne just said, I don't even want to count. Okay. So think about it as your real sales, if you want them to be consistent, it's going to take strategy. Okay. So I believe that you can do this, but you got to stop trying to guess, right? You got to stop trying to guess your way through. Like, first of all, you too grown for that. So strategy equals clarity, clarity equals confidence. Again, you don't need more degrees to build a digital product, but you do need information to implement that's knowledgeable step by step, and you do need a clear message. So what now? Some of you are already part of our community and you're here for a refresher. Some of you are not. Okay. So I want to give you some examples. I'm a visionary person. So when we think about a digital product business, I look at clarity, what I want, implementation, I got to show up to do it, and that will equal to sales at some point in the journey. So you might be thinking, like, I already know this information, even though this workshop was great. Or, girl, this feel like too much, right? Or, you know what, I'm doing just fine, but I showed up because I'm curious, right? So, you probably fall into one of those categories. I don't know. All right. But let's be clear. If you already had the launch system, if you already had the sales system and you're not part of our community, you would not be guessing. You would not be baffled at the things that I'm educating you on today. You are here because something is missing, whether it's the whole puzzle or like the middle pieces. You have an idea, you know what you want your life to look like by the grace of some sales with digital products, but you like, girl, this little bridge is gone. Like, I don't even know what's in the inside from getting here to here, right? So the good news is, again, you're not starting from scratch. You're early, not behind. Start saying that to yourself. I'm early, I'm right on time. I'm not behind though. So digital products does take time and it takes planning. But once they are built right, they work while you sleep. And it's a beautiful thing. Who would want that cha-ching on their phone, right? So check yourself. Ask yourself, do a little assessment. Is my digital product idea clear? And does it not sound like therapy? Do I actually have a launch plan? Not do I know the 4 launch phases? Do I have a plan for each phase? Can I actually tell people what I do that doesn't sound like therapy? Okay. So there's no shame in the game. It's just a strategy game and an implementation game. So again, just pumping you up. You're not lazy. You're not lost. You just need the right roadmap. You may need the right support. And I believe the real flex is making money while helping people without working 24/7 is the real flex. Let me say that again. Making more money while still helping people without working 24/7 is the flex. Okay. So to me, that's next level. That's time freedom. That's location freedom. So are you ready to learn the right way? Because I know that I am equipped to walk you through it. I don't do the whole guessing game, no fluff. I want to help you make this season and your next season. We can talk quarters, we can talk years of clarity and cash flow, but of course, you got to do the work. And I want to show you how, right? So I want to share with you a principle called Parkinson's Law. This is a theory. Okay. And so, and a lot of you, I'm sure all of you can relate. So, what is Parkinson's law? When you look at tasks, like think about things that are done that you got to have done by the day, right? So, tasks will take as long as the time that you give them. If you give something 3 months, it's going to take 3 months. If you give something 2 weeks, you will get ultra crystal clear and focused for you to finish in 2 weeks. Put a one in the comment box if you would agree. Think back on all the times. I don't care if you want to call it procrastination. It is called Parkinson's law. You waited to the last minute to write that 5-page paper and you thugged it out. And the night before class, you went and wrote that 5-page paper. You gave yourself 2 hours to write it and you wrote it. And that probably feeds your procrastination, which ain't good because at some point you might crash. So you don't want to depend on that. But I'm just saying, like when you give yourself 30 minutes to do something, you get it done. Okay. So we can apply this to your business. When you are waiting for more time to be like, oh, I don't know if I need help yet, right? Or I don't know if I really am able to do this because you're lacking in confidence versus taking action first, there is no action. Okay. There's nothing that's going to happen. Okay. You want to create a deadline for things that you want. If you want a certain amount of extra money, you need to start like yesterday. Okay. You want to stick to the idea. You want to see it through. You want to start with small goals. The goal is, I learned this from The Compounding Effect, a book. You want to be 1% better each week, but I say each day you wake up. Your goal is to be 1% better than what you were yesterday. So start simple and launch smarter. Okay. So put a yes in the comment box if you want to design a business around your life and not the other way around. Okay. So this is how I've curated over time, and it's always being updated, my life. So to the left, me and my son are at Walt Disney World at the Polynesian. We decided to get a bungalow and we took our family. The picture in the middle is us in the bungalow. But I highlight the picture to the left because my husband was taking fun pictures of me and my son during my summer launch. The theme of my launch that year was work from everywhere and anywhere for those who want a private practice. And I actually had a coaching call with our private practice clients in the inside of the bungalow. And then I took them on a tour. Like I just make stuff like that so fun. I just be planning those calls on purpose sometimes. And then, of course, I'm also a clinical psychologist. So my biggest thing is working with at-risk youth, transitional age youth, and adults who are in the re-entry population, those who come from corrections or off the streets. I also love an abundant lifestyle. I'm not afraid to say that I want to make a whole lot of money. I am making a whole lot of money, and I can dictate how much money I make every single year. There have been years where the sky is the limit. The last 2 years, I've cut my revenue by 50 to 75%. A lot of people don't know that. I've been slowly dripping that information out. That was by design and that was by choice. My son is in first grade. I'm not missing a heartbeat. And some things I had to pause, not give up, but I had to just restructure my time into something that brought me peace and brought me joy so that I can be fully present for y'all this homework, okay? And get used to it, then build back up, okay? So I love to travel. I love hosting events, whether it's virtual or in person. But I put all this up on my vision board years ago, okay? So I want you to imagine as we close out, and remember, stay to the end because I got something for you. I want you to imagine that you've taken the first brave step. Some of you have already done that, but some of you have not. And you know that what is next is you getting some mentorship, right? So I want you to imagine this. You are feeling maxed out in your schedule at your job and your practice, but you still knew that there had to be more for you, right? So you joined our community because you were ready to stop sitting on your ideas and you wanted to build something real that was genuine to you, right? So you said yes to us helping you with clarity, providing you with support, structure, following our simple steps, and you didn't even know what you needed, but we gave it to you anyway, and you left it, right? So then fast forward, you have a product, a digital product that aligns with your voice. You've built a stream of income beyond one-on-one therapy. You're not wondering how because you've done it and you have the steps. You got a taste of that overflow and you can feel it, so you want more. So you've proven to yourself by doing that you're capable of more. So you are ready for the bigger vision. You're no longer just dreaming about impacts or helping more people across even state or country lines. You're doing it. You have the freedom, you have the visibility because you've been able to follow the process. You're now building toward what you want for your vision board, but you're doing it your way. So here's the truth. You weren't meant to walk this new level alone. You weren't meant to take a new major without a guide, a professor. Okay. So me as your guide, this is what I can tell you I can help you with, okay, is I can help you refine your product idea. I can help you build a real business model, even for digital products, by introducing you to how to build out a digital product business model. I can help you scale your income with confidence. I can help you protect your peace with growth. But all I'm asking is that you take my steps. So this next step that I'm going to introduce to you, it is your next step to your elevation plan. Okay. You've already proven that you can start something or you wouldn't be here. You actually would not still be listening to me right now. Right. So I want to help you finish the idea phase stronger. So if I had something to give you clearly that had the exact systems that I use step by step, and you could test your digital product without being in a state of overwhelm, do you think that you can finally get it launched? Yes or no in the chat box. If I gave you a syllabus and it was in the form of a course shell with some support, could you ask for help and could you follow instructions? I believe the answer is yes. Okay. So we have our Aligned Academy. Right now, we're in a season of what's called Summer Digital Product School. Okay. So this is what you get as part of this mentorship program. So without even the summer attached, you will get access to a private podcast feed with a lot of bonuses. That is what we consider coaching on demand. So if there's a question that you have in between calls, you can submit it and we will answer it on the private podcast feed. That's nice for people who are in different time zones. Not everybody's able to make it to the calls, but you still want to ask as many questions as you want. There's no limit, right? Online community, we do give you, for the summer school, we will put you in a Facebook group. And then after that, we're going to taper you off into a Telegram alumni group where it's very member driven, where some people are in there, some people talk, but you can go in there and ask questions and talk amongst each other and create accountability groups. You do have access to replays, even from some calls that we did earlier this summer to jumpstart you in your digital product journey. And the biggest thing is you can learn on your own pace. So there is a self-paced portal and I teach what I've done. So when I first launched this program last summer, it was developed all live. Then once I got feedback from about 3 cohorts, because now I know what I'm doing because I've launched over 40 times, like with other programs, I can now implement faster. See, there's a process. And what I did is I took all the feedback and then I went and pre-recorded. So y'all, the lessons in the modules, it may be multiple lessons in a module, but each lesson is 2 to 3 minutes. So can you watch a 2 to 3 minute video or listen to it and do the work? Of course you can. The way that we built the program is just like I'm teaching right now, except I would have you pause. So I may do 1 to 3 slides, and then the slide color changes to like that green, blue color. And then it says, take messy action. You do the activity. When you do each activity, it will build off each other. There is no way you would not have launched a product if you followed my instructions. There is no way. Okay. So I want to briefly walk you through our framework because there is a step-by-step process that we like you to follow. So the first thing we're going to do is help you set your foundation. So this is where we will help you craft out your mission and your vision for your digital product business. You will get a better understanding of your niche and you will be able to identify if you are a luxury brand or you are a basics brand. They both make a lot of money, but one may be on the lower end of pricing, for example, and one may be on the higher end. The C is for crafting your offers. So this is where we will help you look at a product suite, but then we will say, okay, start with one product right now. We will also help you build out your framework that I talked about earlier, your vehicle per se, and you will help people see what the transformation is. The A is for activating your marketing. So this is where we will teach you how to create content buckets, content pillars based on your framework. You see how they build on top of each other? Once you build your framework, then we can teach you how to build content, and then you don't have to think about what you should be posting or talking about. Then, of course, we're going to introduce email marketing because let's be real, social media has its limits. And we're also going to talk about systems to launch. Then the L is for launch and leverage. So this is where we dive deeper into, okay, now that you got your systems up and running, let's talk about how you can get better at sales, how you can get better at attracting and converting your ideal targeted audience. And of course, we're going to introduce you to the full launch process. Okay. And then the E is for expand and evolve. So this is where you're just going to be constantly tweaking things that you've done so you can evolve your brand over time. You're going to beta test your product as many times as you would need to so that you can feel confident once you start making sales. And then we're going to teach you how to debrief so that you will know, was this launch cool? Was this month good? Or do I need to do it over? Like, what am I working toward? Okay. So here are some students who have went through our program over the last year. So Kelly, she says, having direct access to a mentor and a community gave me the confidence to share my product and get real feedback. The support and accountability from the online community helped me stay focused and grow alongside of others on the same path. And I finally stepped from being behind the scenes, posting more on social media, and nearly done with my journal draft. Okay. Etsuko said, being able to share ideas in the community and get mentorship feedback made me feel supported and seen throughout the process. Our AMA community, Align Marketing Academy, helped me stay inspired and refined my coaching program. She was developing an actual program with real-time support and guidance. She said, even when I forgot to use all the tools, knowing they were there and having people to bounce ideas with has been a game changer. So she was the one that came back for multiple refreshers. Now, I love to also show you different types of clinicians. So Kelly, when we had her give us that feedback, that was in the beginning phase. Etsuko came through on a couple of different cohorts. So we like to follow y'all journey. So then she told us like a couple of months later, since joining the program, she's launched her 21-day mindfulness course. She's enrolled 3 clients. She's enrolled more than that, but that was at this time, and used feedback to make it better. Beta. This program gave her the push to launch, to automate, to streamline, and to also publish all 30 YouTube videos. Put a 1 in the comment box if y'all like, this is good, right? Because I was so proud of them to be able to do it on the first time, from building my course to mastering email marketing and content creation. I now feel fully prepared for future launches. Now, get what she just said. She didn't say, I built up my confidence and then I went to go launch. She said, I started doing the thing. I did all these things. And now I feel pretty much good. I feel confident. This person doesn't have a name. I chose to do that because we've had some people reach out to us separately to our student support system. And I call this the lifing era. Okay. So does it sound anything like maybe what you're going through? Life got busy. These are quotes from them in our program. Life got busy, but me having access to the private podcast helped me refocus and keep going at my own pace because they couldn't visually look at the videos because they were overstimulated by home life. Even when I stepped back, I never felt judged, meaning when they stopped coming to live calls or they stopped engaging in the community, they didn't feel judged. People didn't reach out to them and be like, oh my God, why are you like step back? We are very supportive. The community reminded them that their cup is still welcome to overflow. And then this person said, I hit pause on my journal, but being part of this space reminded me I can always get back into the game. Put a 1 in the comment box if you like, that was me like last month. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, life is going to happen. So I want to be clear who our program is not for, because I don't want anybody joining this program and they cannot. So the way that you would even join the program is we're going to email everybody who officially signed up for this masterclass. If you did not officially sign up for it, check the description. The link to sign up is in the link, but I have something for you. So do not log off because you don't want to sign up without this extra gift. Okay. So the AMA program is not for those who don't want to offer a digital product. This is not for private practice. This is not for group practice. This is not for clinical supervision. No clinical services. Okay. Another bonus that we are going to be adding before the next call is what's called launch vehicles. This is something we've been introducing slowly to our live events in the last year. And what has helped is people seeing what types of ways that they can launch. So I need to sit down and record it because right now it's just on a Word document, but I want to provide some supportive information so that you can see the differences between choosing how you want to launch versus just thinking you got to launch on Instagram. Okay. If you have any further questions beyond what I've talked about today, specifically around the program, this is what I would recommend. First, go review the enrollment page and, what I talked about with even the process, the framework, and what you get. You can slow it down, read the conversation there. You can DM me on Instagram at Dr. TK Psych. Give me 1 business day to get back to you, only because there are 3 to 4 mailboxes and sometimes it gets shuffled into the spam box and it's hard to tell because it doesn't show me everything right away. All right. So DM me, but that's pretty much it. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how did y'all like the workshop? I thoroughly enjoyed it. I love doing master classes like this. These are fun. But yeah, I really hope that you've enjoyed it. For those of you who've launched or relaunching digital products, definitely use like what we've talked about today as a foundation. Of course, if you need more assistance and you want some mentorship, then definitely join the program. You do keep unlimited access to the portal. And so even though there may be no live calls in certain seasons, it does not mean that you cannot access the course and anything that I have updated. So for example, all the people that I showcased and some people who like stepped away, but they mentioned it in the chat box, they're alumni. So I may add something right now, and then they will get it as an update in the portal. So yeah, Shayla, yeah, come on, let's launch these digital products now. We in the season. So I enjoyed the masterclass and it was helpful to refresh and encouraging. Yeah. All right, y'all. I will talk to y'all soon. Have a great rest of your evening and happy summer. Bye.